Hi, Darby Livingston, Tree Hill Farms. I am on my way right now to deliver our weekly orders to our Brookville, Ohio pickup location. Whole Body Fitness is our partner down there in Brookville. Erica is the owner, and she has placed a freezer in her gym so that our customers and her customers can pick up their orders at their convenience. And so we're really thankful for Erica and the team at Whole Body Fitness for being our, so far, southernmost partners. So thank you, and we look forward to many years of real food together. On my way out the door today, my wife and I discussed the deck on the side of our house. We were wanting to get it stained, and I didn't get it stained in the summer. So many farm things to do, so many other things to do. I just didn't get it done. So I've been looking at the weather the last few weeks because I know it was a project my wife was wanting to get done, and there just was never a great stretch of weather. It was raining every other day, and that wouldn't work. And then finally I saw that I thought, a couple days ago, today would be the day. Well, the weather is not cooperated. It's colder than what it was forecast to be, and it's supposed to get colder yet tonight, and so no stain is meant to go on in this kind of weather. And so I came to the conclusion I'm going to have to just put it off again. That got me to thinking about things that we do in seasons. And when I think about anything, I think about food, and so I start thinking about the seasonality of food. You see, it would be possible for me to get the deck on the side of our house stained if I wanted to expend enough energy to get that done. If I want to hang scaffolding around the edge of the deck and hang plastic visqueen over that so that you can work inside of it, and then put heaters in there so that starting today and through the next several days while it would cure and dry, I could, if I wanted to expend enough kerosene, I could get the deck stained yet in the middle of winter. It's just a matter of overcoming nature by expending energy. It's the same with food. It requires more energy to get a fresh tomato from California or Florida to Ohio than it would for me to put a bubble around the deck on the side of our house to stain it. It requires more energy to grow a tomato in a enclosed, climate-controlled greenhouse in Ohio than it would for me to get the work done on my house. Who pays the bill for that? You see, I don't want to pay the bill for staining the deck on the side of our house in the middle of winter. To me, now it's just not worth it. You're approaching the value of the deck in cost to get that job done by hiring somebody to do it or doing it ourselves. It would require a lot of energy. Well, it requires a lot of energy to eat off-season, out-of-season food in the middle of winter. We have the ability, the technology, to eat whatever we want, whenever we want it. But that does come at a cost. And part of the cost of real food is eating it out of season. Our grandparents, great-grandparents, they didn't do that. They didn't eat out-of-season food fresh. What they did was can it, ferment it, pickle it. They would do all sorts of processes to store it. Root cellars. They would try to keep it as cool as possible and store it for as long as possible and grow varieties that stored over a long time, like carrots and cabbages and potatoes. But they knew that it wasn't really practical to eat a fresh tomato in January. So they would can the tomatoes and then they would stew them. Well, then freezing came along and that made it a little better, but that requires energy. So then you could freeze your tomatoes and your corn and green beans and whatever and eat those all season that way. But then we decided, why would you do all of that when you can just truck in fresh produce from all over the country and eat it out of season, to where there really is no such thing as out of season. But there is. There is. Once again, we're eating oil. To eat out of season, you're eating oil. So for local food, the food that pays the bill as we go, we're constrained by the seasons. There's certain things we can do to try to offset the effects of the weather and the climate. We can put up hoop houses and minimally heat them and extend our season with different varieties. And we can freeze produce and can it and do all of those kind of things to enjoy some of that stuff that we like in the winter. But if we're going to pay as we go, we have to learn to eat according to the seasons. And so there are things that we can eat in the off season. Fresh tomatoes, probably not. But there's a lot of very, very flavorful and tasty things and healthy and nutrient-dense things that we can eat in the off season. So it is our goal at Trio Farms to build the infrastructure, and we are, to extend our seasons as long as we can. We think that 9 months out of the year for almost any kind of produce is easily doable in our climate. And we're building the infrastructure to make that a reality. In the other 3 months, maybe 2 months on some things, we will figure out ways to make that available in some form. So we might not get a fresh tomato in January, but we can get awesome summertime tomatoes chopped up, frozen, made into salsa after it's thawed out, and we can do things like that. We can freeze delicious sweet corn in the middle of July so that it's ready for you in the middle of January. We can do things to extend the season and give you forms of our products that will help satisfy our winter cravings. But we're going to pay the bill as we go. And so part of that for us is learning to eat according to the seasons. And that's why so much of the work we're going to be doing when it comes to meal prep planning and recipes are going to have a seasonal flavor to them. And we think you're going to be thrilled by it.